What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to give you a good overview of things that you need to know and potentially from here where things might be going. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So as you can see, 5.87% down today. Very, very big sell-off, largely because of obviously the jobless claims that did come out over and above just the broader fear that is in the market. So as you can see, the fear and greed index is very high. Of course, when it was at the $4 range, it was kind of in between the fear and the extreme fears. So potentially it could go down a little bit further from that. But when it comes down to SoFi specific stuff, of course, a lot of people already do know about SoFi suing to block Biden's student loan payment pause. And I think in general, it does break it down that ultimately they're losing about 30 million every single quarter just based on this alone. Every time it does get extended, every single quarter they're losing, I believe it said around 30 million. So of course, that's going to be a very big factor at play, very much incentivizing SoFi to do this. And in reality, they probably should have done this sooner, but neither here nor there in reality. But again, I think there's a lot of different things at play right now, and I'll give you a quick overview of everything. So starting with options activity, you do see a lot of very large puts being purchased. And as you can see right here, it does show that just within this candle, which is a 5-minute window between 10:30 and 10:35, there was in fact $195,000 worth of premiums that was purchased just within that kind of period. So there's a lot more puts being purchased, insinuating that things might potentially be going down. And just to give you a good overview, and of course on a side note, options activity does not dictate or really influence the price. It's a little bit more of a sentiment. So just be aware of that. And also, I'm not a financial advisor. So when it comes down to this chart right here, this shows the put/call ratio. So it is extremely high, insinuating that there is a lot more puts that have been being purchased ever since SoFi started to rally. So again, I think a lot of people are very doubtful about this whole rally. And I don't think it's a SoFi specific problem right now that people are very fearful about. It's just more of a broader economic one. So of course, you kind of have to separate them, realize that they're separate to some regard, of course, because when it comes to SoFi, there is a lot of dependency on a very thriving economy. So it kind of is linked, kind of isn't. So just be aware of that. And of course, when it comes down to this, I just wanted to share this with you. So Riley did post this about a new SoFi promotion. So even though this came out a couple days back, just wanted to share that with you, that behind the scenes that SoFi is still trying to get good customers. So of course, I think in reality, that's a very positive thing. But at this stage in the game, it is the technicals that are playing a very big part and will continue to play a very big part in SoFi. So for instance, today alone, it did bounce off of the 50-day moving average, which in general is a very big pivot point for a lot of stocks. So actually it did bounce off of that exactly, actually it is on it. So in general though, there is some things that you just need to watch for as far as the next big support range. In reality, I do feel that this kind of negative momentum will continue, unfortunately. I'm not here to spread any FUD, just based on the technicals and how I interpret kind of the sentiment. People are anticipating it to go down further. Of course, you can also tell based on the puts as well. But when it comes down to it, I do anticipate it breaking below that 50-day moving average and most likely trading within this range, which is the 100 to 50-day moving average. So most likely it will be there until either there's a good piece of news to cause it to go up. Of course, this doesn't have to be a SoFi specific good piece of news. It just has to be either a broader economic one or a SoFi one specific to cause it to go higher. If there is a continuation of fear, and like I said, based on this fear and greed index, there is some opportunity for it to still get more fearful in the market as well. And so if that does happen, then most likely it might break below that 100-day moving average. Of course, though, there's a lot of different external factors at play that you just need to realize. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of people just need to kind of understand that SoFi is a long-term investment. You're not going to get rich on it just by a 1-month period or a 2-month period, even though for 2023, it's done a hell of a lot of good things. But generally speaking, that normally doesn't happen all the time. And looking as far as what the specific indicators are saying, number of retail investors are getting out, and you can tell that based on the momentum indicator. Stochastic, you can see, is currently at 29, so fairly oversold a little bit, but you do see a very big deviation, so red line above the black, showing a little bit more of a bearish sentiment is wanting to form, and RSI is currently at 41, so fairly neutral in that regard. So like I said, I do anticipate us to unfortunately break below this and most likely trade within this range. But once again, these videos are for entertainment purposes only, so let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think that's too far-fetched? Do you think it's going to bounce off of this and trend up to $8, $9, $10? Where do you see things going? Also, give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you did buy today as well. Today was actually a pretty big sell-off, so in reality, a pretty good discount to a lot of people. But once again, let me know your thoughts on all of that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my SoFi content, want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.